Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
All right, I have a question for all the parents. Do you think the claymation Christmas specials, the ones we all grew up on, all the Christmas specials, really, Frosty wasn't claymation, but all of those, do you think that they're ever going to go out of style or reach a point where nobody is interested every Christmas?
I mean, I think it's a good question because they are old-fashioned, if you will.
Rudolph.
There she is.
Cute.
I'm cute. So it's up to us. To me, I watched those when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
Rudolph really affected me. I really identified. I just felt Rudolph. I would cry, all of it. And so when Murphy and I had little ones, Taylor and Phoebe, we introduced them to it. And they loved them. And so now they do love it. Our youngest, Phoebe, will tell you her favorite Christmas movie or special is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and it's the claymation one.
Yeah.
She loves it and literally will watch it no matter what, and unashamed to shout out that that's her favorite.
They're not likely to go out of style because they have become iconic.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a big difference.
Yeah, we keep it.
They have been packaged and repackaged, and again, it's a function of marketing and what's out there. And as long as it continues to be in Target every Christmas.
Yeah. I remember when they came out with the set on DVDs. That was just like, oh my
gosh.
God, I have got to get. And
Right.
that's really how I introduced my kids to it. It was like,
Sure.
here, whenever you want them, they're all right here.
You didn't have to wait to watch
Right.
it and make the appointment.
Yeah.
I know. When you watch them now, you know exactly where the commercial break used to be.
Well, yeah, it looks like it ends, and then it picks right up.
It's like Rudolph on the ice thing going, oh.
Yeah.
Dum, dum, dum.
I was so scared for him. Yeah, I hope they don't go out. I guess in years and years and years from now, decades from now, it's possible.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Murphy's right. It's become a part of Christmas for so many.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time of the year, it's almost like tradition matters more to us. So we're more our traditions are more sacred at this time of the year. So it's likely they would live on because of that.
That's why Charlie Brown is still as big.
Look, Charlie, let's face it. We all know that Christmas is a big commercial racket. It's run by a big Eastern syndicate, you know.
So smart for so long ago, huh?
And I
I
guess
remember going, what is she talking about?
so. I guess the claymation stuff was early 1960s. Charlie Brown was late 1960s, early 70s.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about stuff that is already, pushing 60 years old. But if you go back even farther, there's still, again, there's a difference to me between a Christmas story, cartoon / movie and something that's actually become iconic. It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
And shame on us. We've never introduced that one to our kids. Our kids have never seen that.
No, but they're aware of it because all the clips actually are more familiar probably than the movie itself. And, and the quotes in Jimmy Stewart. And that's really old-fashioned. I mean, you're talking about something that came out in the 1940s. And I guess Miracle on 34th Street, the original one, is even older than that.
Sure.
And for some, that's, still.
When I was a little girl, I think I saw the original Scrooge. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is a horrible story.
Why would anyone want to watch this?
But it was interesting to me. I was intrigued by it because it was a Christmas story. I knew that it was a Christmas story. And so that's iconic and old. But there are so many. Again, here we are in the land of too many choices.
Well, Scrooge, that's
Now.
a great one, because now you got
Christmas
the updated
Carol.
version, Scrooge, and then you also have the Muppet Christmas Carol,
Which is,
another way to update it. So I'm sure there'll be plenty more of those.
It's a timeless story.
Yeah.
And it's been retold a lot, which is great.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go all the way back to the difficult one, the hard one, the one that I watched.
Well, and that's why, some things survive and some don't. Elf is now a 20-year-old movie.
I know.
And
That's hard to believe.
And that's not a new movie, but it's iconic. Christmas Vacation is 30
Oh my
years
gosh.
old. 30 plus years old.
Talk
and
about right time, right place.
Right.
Like if they tried to make that now, please don't ever remake that. It does not need to be touched.
A Christmas Story, same thing. You got a lot of iconic 1980s, movies. I guess every decade has something that really sticks out, but maybe there's just something about pop culture and cinema and everything else as it evolved and really developed that animation is always going to hold a special place in someone's heart because it's childlike.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so if the story is good and like you said, Jodi, it becomes sort of a sacred tradition, it's not likely to fade and go away.
Yeah.
But when you think about a lot of the things that have, even from some of the icons, so you got music that's iconic that still gets played today. Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra,
Correct.
Bing Crosby, and all these Christmas classics that
alive.
are 80 plus years old now that still wind up getting played. But like the days of the variety show special, Christmas special, I know they're still big. I know Kelly Clarkson's done, a big one with NBC.
Sabrina Carpenter for Netflix.
Yeah.
Yep.
But back in the day, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Dean Martin, they all had their own Christmas specials. And it always usually started, if you were watching CBS, with that.
It sounds like an investigative thing to me, but
And then here's Bing.
The sun is shining, the grass is green, the orange and palm trees sway.
But if you go back and you watch some of these, which I actually have,
Beverly Hills, LA.
they're very cheesy by today's standards.
Completely,
So
yeah.
and you can still find them, and it's really cool that they're still out there. But every Christmas, that's what December was. From Thanksgiving on, there was going to be an assortment of those specials on TV that you watch.
I don't think there's as many of those anymore. I mean, I know Sabrina Carpenter's got one, and we have the lighting of the tree and all that. But yeah, there's not. There used to be like every night it seemed like somebody had a special on.
because they all, they had the whole nation's, not the whole nation's, but they had a huge percentage of the nation's attention
There's nothing else to do
on the networks. Correct.
Well, and it's a variety show, TV show is very different than a story that's being told in a movie.
It's little snippets.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like fast food. It's like TikTok now. Well, it's like TikTok now.
But I've always been fascinated by the things that become iconic and completely survive the test of time versus the things that are so generational that they're gone. And it's,
Wizard of Oz.
Stands the test of
1939
time.
movie.
Stands the test of
Everybody
time.
still watches
It's
it.
true.
You know what hasn't stood the test of time, and I didn't remember that this even existed, a very Brady Christmas. The
There's
Brady
a reason.
Bunch. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
Almost
that was
too stylized.
But in its time, when it was a retro comeback in the 80s, and it was a big made-for-TV thing, but then, of course, it went away. But
I will say this, talking about this, and in the weeks to come as we, get closer to Christmas, we always want to hear from you about, the Christmas specials and Christmas movies that mean something to you. It's not so much a favorite, but what means something to you, and that's what it is. It doesn't mean that Elf is the best Christmas movie or that Rudolph is the best Christmas special. If it means something to you, if it was introduced to you when you were at that tender age where it was so magical to you, that is what makes it last in your heart and makes it, hey, we have to watch it because you're chasing that feeling.
yeah.
And hopefully you catch a little bit of it.
Man, you sound like Santa Claus. whenever
I
you're
know.
talking
Well,
about it.
it's true.
Well, yeah, that's exactly that's the difference maker. You're right.
Right.
Because if it means enough to you, you're probably going to introduce it to your kids or to your friends or whomever, and that's what keeps it. That's what keeps it alive because there is a ton of stuff from days past that doesn't see the light of day. If you search it on YouTube, you might find it.
Yeah.
I never see the little drummer boy one anymore. The claymation.
I mean, I think it's sold in the packs when you buy a grouping of them, whether it be DVD or if you were to, buy it on streaming or whatever, pay for it. I know it doesn't play as much.
Donkey one that you liked in there?
I didn't like that one. I watched the Nestor the Long-Eared Donkey one Christmas when I was a very little girl, and I cried for a week. And so my mom would never let me watch it again. So when I tell you I've only watched it once in my life, and it was devastating. And I guess, and Mom eventually told me later it's because the mom died. And I was just devastated I had never watched any, I was probably not even watching Disney movies yet. So I was just.
Wait, like the donkey mom died?
I think so.
Oh.
And then Nestor became the donkey to carry Mary.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, you understand? So it's a beautiful story and all of that, but for a 4-year-old child,
Yeah.
5-year-old, whatever I was rocking then. It wasn't.
They used the Bambi trick on you.
Sure did before I was ready.
It's a combo of Bambi and Dumbo because
didn't see
Nestor
it.
had long ears.
I didn't
right.
see it coming, and I felt bad for Nestor with the long ears too. It was a triple whammy of sadness from me.
God, that is so weird that's the kind of stuff that's
what they used.
That's what they used to pull you into knowing the character and feeling for the character immediately, I guess.
They still do.
Yeah.
What main character is not suffering a hardship when you're introduced?
Right.
Harry Potter's in a broom closet.
Luke Skywalker.
In the very first scene of the Harry Potter series, and you're like, you feel so bad for this kid.
Right.
Yeah, Murphy, you actually shared something there too that reminded me of. It was like you knew what was going to happen tonight. You had your dinner. You had your bath, and you were just waiting for that sound to play on CBS.
Right.
And it was like, that's it. Let's go. Charlie Brown's starting.
Right. Yeah.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
In fact, even if they weren't doing a Charlie Brown special, I always thought that meant
Oh, yeah.
Charlie
It's
Brown.
like, whoa, something good coming on. It's a special.
Right.
That's cute.
Brought to you by Dolly Madison.
I
Yeah.
know. I remember that too.
Yeah.
It's about, it's funny when you will hear in the next few weeks the debate about the best Christmas movie. There's no such thing. What Christmas movie means something to you, or what Christmas special means something to you. Rudolph will always mean something to me and our kids.
Yeah.
When we introduced it to them.
But you know what? It takes those, anytime you hear about those top 10, top 20 lists, that's actually that answers the question that Sam originally, asked.
Will they live?
Which is how do they live on? Because
They do.
it takes the group, the society as a whole. It's pop. That's what they call it, pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever can remain relevant in pop culture can stay alive. It's tough to know. I mean, it's until someone stops making it special to their kids and their friends, it's going to continue to be that way. It's when you look at the surveys of Christmas songs, most of the top 10 or 15 Christmas songs are still 40, 50, and 60 years old. It's like that was mind-blowing to me. It is beautiful. It's wonderful. I mean, White Christmas by Bing Crosby was arguably the most commercially successful Christmas song outside of Mariah Carey.
I'm about to say until Mariah came along.
Right. But in terms of longevity, there's nothing else that's been out there
true.
that long.
Nothing else
is
that's playing.
Yeah. But I think that would be a great college course, and maybe it exists already, Sam. The question that you asked to me would be an awesome study in longevity in pop culture to see whether it's music, whether it's entertainment, or what that why do some things catch on and last forever? How is it that Frank Sinatra is still as iconic and recognizable today, even if you've never heard his music, versus a bunch of other singers that were around and very impactful in the 1940s and 50s?
He gets a bump at Christmas too.
Yeah.
Right.
Frank gets a bump at Christmas too.
I guess you're right.
Oh my gosh, it's the only time I want to listen to Frank. I know that you blast him in the house all the time in July.
I also wonder if the availability or the accessibility to everybody is going to affect it, because it's like on one side you got the claymations and all that are on NBC. We can all watch them, and Charlie Brown is aligned with Apple Plus,
It's
which
true.
you got to be a subscriber except for the one weekend where they let everybody watch
do it.
It's not like you can just go on any time and watch it because you're restricted.
You have to make an appointment to watch
Right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you do that class, you do that study, what you're going to find, this is my prediction, is that if it means something to you, you will then pass it on to your children. Therefore, it will continue to mean something, and it will last. It will stand the test of time.
That's the reason we also got really excited when the Schoolhouse Rock videos came out on DVD. When the girls were younger, when Taylor and Phoebe, our daughters,
Played
were
that
younger.
on repeat.
Yeah.
And they know all the words to those, too.
Those worked.
We would love to know which Christmas special or song or whatever it is means the most to you. You can send us a DM on Facebook or Instagram or email us at murphysamandjody.com.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jody podcast.